This is about to get very personal very fast. Hey ladies, it is Wednesday and it is Jess, and our two topics this week are tattoos and piercings in the workplace, and our second topic is dating someone who is trans or thinking about transitioning. And I have some thoughts and feelings on the second topic because I have personal experience with it, so I'm going to tackle this one. So I want to tell you guys about my story or my experience with one individual with not too much detail or specificity, just to respect privacy and boundaries and all that. But my story essentially is we were not dating, but we were seeing one another, and originally they identified as a woman, and then they identified as genderqueer, and then finally they decided to identify as a man. I can't speak directly to his experiences because, well, one, I am not him, two, I am not trans, and three, I do not have his permission to try and tell his experiences secondhand, so I'm not even going to try. But I can speak to how I was feeling during the relationship. First and foremost, I was incredibly supportive and happy for him. It was obviously such a relief to settle or to finally figure out how he wanted to identify. It was a relief for him, and I was relieved for him because he was really struggling with that. And so I was really happy and supportive that he had figured it out. He was very uncomfortable still about his body, and to be completely honest, I was very uncomfortable too, and not because there was anything wrong with it, but because he was uncomfortable, I felt uncomfortable. He established parameters about where to touch him, how to touch him, and I was respectful of that, of course, because I wanted him to feel comfortable, I wanted him to feel good, but I wasn't confident enough in myself at that time. He was generally uncomfortable with anything that we did, even if it was within the boundaries that he set, and it left me feeling like I couldn't do anything right. I felt like I did everything wrong and that I couldn't do anything to please him, and it left me feeling really defeated, and that's really on me, that I let it get to the point where I let myself feel defeated. I so wanted to respect his boundaries and to make him feel good, but I felt like I failed at every turn, and I felt really guilty for that, really apologetic, and I lost a lot of confidence in myself. On his end, he was still figuring out his body, and on my end, I did not communicate how I was feeling at all. The relationship just happened at a bad time for the two of us. We didn't communicate, we didn't want to put in the effort to make the relationship work, and we eventually parted ways. And looking back, I think that our relationship failed not because any obstacles that being trans brought about, but really because of general things that hinder any relationship, like poor communication. So through my story, I think that there are three things that are really important for both partners to have and to keep in mind when in a relationship. In any relationship, but specifically here in terms of being trans or thinking about transitioning. The three things are communication, trust, and patience. Communication, to talk about how you both are feeling, not just your partner, not just you, but the two of you in the relationship. To talk about pronouns, about how to be supportive, to talk about what is okay and is not okay in the bedroom, to talk about how out they are or want to be in different spaces. Trust for yourself, trust in yourself, trust in your partner, trust in your relationship, trust that you are good enough for your partner and that they are good enough for you. Trust that you guys as a team can work together to deal with the complexities that come in this gender arena. And finally, patience. Patience with yourself and your partner. These things take time. It's not going to be smooth right away, but if you care about the person, then the time and effort you put in is going to be worth it. And I also know that some people get hung up on labels. We talked a little bit about this on Facebook between the girls and LesbianCentral. Is like, for example, if you identify as a lesbian and you are dating someone who is thinking about transitioning, what does that make you anymore? Can you still call yourself a lesbian? And my answer, I think, is frustrating and not all that helpful because it is simply that do whatever feels right. It's really up to you. There's no hard and fast rule with this, I don't think. I avoid this whole gray area by identifying as queer, but I think that the labels that we choose, like lesbian, are more than just their definition. Lesbian connotes a culture, a history, a community, so I can understand why thinking about tossing that aside might be difficult or might be unsettling, especially considering if you have incorporated that into part of your identity and you've used that label for such a long time. My advice, call yourself whatever feels right to you, and fuck the people that tell you differently. It's your body, it's your life, it's your choice. And people need to get with it or get out. Besides, being lesbian, gay, bi, pansexual, queer, asexual, however you identify, these things mean different things to different individuals. You're not going to find one person with the same conception or meaning for one of these labels. So this specific scenario, to me, is just an example of those larger differences between people. But let me know what you guys think. If you are trans, dated someone who had thought about transitioning, what that meant for you, the label thing that we talked about. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on this down below. Thank you guys so much also for leaving comments and giving us topic suggestions. We got these two from last week, so keep that up. If you have any more, leave them down below too. But otherwise, have a good Wednesday, have a good week, and I will see you next hump day. Bye.